Hi, hello, and welcome, or welcome back, I suppose. It might be clear, but it'll be clear in a couple of weeks' time, that I'm doing a little bit of batch of filming. I'm only filming 2 videos. Well, I'm filming part of 2 videos. It'll make sense when they all start to come out. This video will be the first one to come out, and then there's another one, which I've just filmed the first part of, coming out in a couple of weeks. Hopefully, if I can get my time management sorted. I doubt it, because it's me and I have poor time management. I love it. Anyway, first part of this video is, it's a weekly wrap up. Usually we do reviews, but I'm going to start with something a little bit different, a little bit of a surprise, because the other day I was out and I've decided to get myself some new books, even though I wasn't supposed to be doing that. Now, part of my book haul you'll see in a different video, the other one that I was talking about filming, because it is a special little video. It's got a little gimmick to it. But this stuff is probably gonna go straight onto my shelf. I say that meaning that I'm gonna write down the names. They can go into the box. Oh, it's fallen off. It can go into the box and they will be read at some point in the future. I think that's fine. I think that's valid because they're still going to get read at some point now that I have a system. Oh my god, my jaw just crunched. Oh. Okay. Hopefully that didn't... Oh, okay, oh, gross, hang on. But 2 of these books are from Waterstones. I found them when I was looking for other books. And 2 of them are from, well, not from a charity shop, but basically in my local Tesco. On the way out, there's just a set of bookshelves you can put £1 in a pot, get yourself a book. It's lovely, it's nice. We'll start with the Waterstones ones and then go to the charity hall ones, things. Books! First up, we have the name being covered, so thanks labels. So first up we have Madame Barova by Ruth Hogan. I thought the cover looked interesting. Actually, both of these I kind of got, both of the ones from Waterstones I kind of got because the covers looked interesting. I ummed and ahed about this one. I kept picking it up, putting it down, picking it up. But then I looked at the other one and I was like, I'm absolutely getting that. And because it was on the, buy one get one half price, I thought, well, I might as well. Why not? Nothing stays secret forever. Promises must be kept and secrets revealed. Madame Barova, tarot reader, palmist and clairvoyant, is retiring. After 50 years of other people's secrets and lives, she's leaving her booth on the Brighton seafront. But before she does, she has to fulfill a promise that she made a long time ago. In London, another woman is making a fresh start. Billy has lost her job, her marriage and her place in the world. Finding that place again will lead her straight to Madame Barova's door to unlock events stretching back to the magical world of a 1970s holiday camp, seaside entertainers, eccentrics, heroes and villains, and a love story which will last through time. Clearly very interesting, very intriguing. It sounds a little bit fun. It just sounds fun. This, also, I feel like this gave me kind of Lucy Diamond, I feel like, would maybe write something like this. I think that was the vibes I was getting. The other one that I got from Waterstones was Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. I picked this up to look at it almost exclusively because of the cover, because, oh my god, look at that. She's so pretty, and then it's got the little thing, including the sun. Oh, I just think that's spicy. I think that's so nice. I think I was like, oh, this is really pretty anyway. And then I saw like the little detail with the sun and I'm like, oh, I've got to check it out. So, from her place in the store, Clara, an artificial friend with outstanding observational qualities, watches carefully at the behaviour of those who come in to browse and of those who pass in the street outside. She remains a hopeful customer. No, she remains hopeful a customer will soon choose her, But when the possibility emerges that her circumstances may change forever, Clara is warned not to invest too much in the promises of humans. In Clara and the Sun, Kazuo Ishiguro looks at our rapidly changing world through the eyes of an unforgettable narrator to explore the fundamental question, what does it mean to love? This sounds super fascinating. It seems like the sort of thing that's going to emotionally destroy me. 100% I'm not going to leave that book without crying at least once. I can just feel it in my bones. And next up we have our little charity shop haul, well, charity book haul thing.
Books.
First up we have 1 Year of Ugly by Caroline Mckenzie. Once again, beautiful cover, super vibrant. Look at her, perfect, beautiful. Mwah. Meet Yola Palacios. Having escaped crumbling socialist Venezuela, Yola and her family are settling into their peaceful new life in Trinidad. But when her beloved auntie Celia dies, the family once again find their lives turned upside down. For Celia had been keeping a very big secret. She was in serious debt to a local criminal called Ugly. Without the funds to pay him off, the Palacios must do his bidding until the debt is cleared. So far, so Ugly. In the midst of turmoil appears Roman, Ugly's distractingly gorgeous right-hand man. And although she's too... Come on. And although she knows it's foolish, not to mention dangerous, Yola can't help but give in to the attraction. Could this wildly inappropriate and very messy romance be the perfect antidote? Told with wry humour and irresistible wit, 1 Year of Ugly is a devastatingly funny, blisteringly fresh story of family, first love, and finding home. Just sounds fantastic. Because I saw the cover, it was like bright, in your face, really lovely art style, just like, ooh, I love that. Oh. And
Hello.
I saw the cover and I thought, that looks really interesting. It also looks like a romance book, which I am a sucker for. Like, you just tell me you look at that and you don't think, oh yeah, that's probably going to be a romance, right? Or the romance adjacent, because this isn't necessarily just a romance, but like that contemporary fiction, usually by and for women, what one might call chick lit kind of vibe. It's got that kind of thing to it, and then I had a little look at the blurb, sounded interesting, so I picked it up. Finally, we have Greatest Hits by Laura Barnett. I didn't actually pick this one up because the cover looked nice. I had like, well, it was a little bit because of the cover, but in terms of like that one, it gave me that chick lit vibe, which I love. I'm a sucker for. It is what it is, and then, you know, you do what you do when you pick up a book. Read the blurb, go, yeah, that looks interesting, so I picked it up, because again, who needs impulse control? If you could choose just 16 moments to define your entire life, what would they be? Cass Wheeler has seen it all, from searing heights of success to earth-shattering moments of despair. She has known passion, envy, pride, fear and love. She has been a daughter, a mother, a singer, a lover. A musician born in 1950, Cass is now taking one day to select the 16 songs in her repertoire that have meant the most to her, and behind each song lies a story, from the day her mother abandoned her, to her passionate first love, to the moment she lost everything. The dreams, the failures, the second chances, but what made her disappear so suddenly from her public life, and, most importantly, can she find her way back? I love stuff like this. Again, a little bit feeling like a Lucy Diamond book. And I love that. I love that very much. Also, I think it might have been the beginning of last year that I reviewed that. I don't know, because I was reading it over like quite a long period, so I don't know when the actual review came out, but Freya North's Pillow Talk, this gives me those kind of vibes. Also a book I found in a charity, not charity shop, but a charity book sale. Not the same place, different one. found that at uni. But Pillow Talk, Freya North, I found that in a charity sale, and this gives me those kind of vibes, which I'm looking forward to, because that was a book where I read the blurb and had a little bit of a, this seems kind of silly, but then I started reading it and got ridiculously emotionally invested. And had I picked this up at the same sort of time, I probably would have looked at that and gone, seems interesting, but also... Whereas now I'm like, yeah, give me this shit. Give me all of it. I fucking love it. I had a little bit of like a, oh, but it's like... I don't know how to explain this without sounding awful, because I was thinking badly. It is awful, but like basically, in my head, things like Freya North and books like that, in my head, at the time when I was picking that up, it was like, oh, it sounds a bit like those kind of romancy kind of and romance adjacent type books that are like for mums. Then I realised that's what my taste is. I don't mean mums. Although, a little bit of MILFs. No, stop. Anyway, I mean, the point I'm making is a lot of the taste that I have now is books for mums. And I think they're wonderful. I think they're all wonderful. Give me more stories of women who are 40 plus rediscovering themselves because they've had a messy divorce. That's what I'm here for. That's what I want. It is what it is. Also, I realise that I say that all the time when I'm filming, and I don't know why. It's just a bit of a crutch phrase. I don't know how long I will hold on to that phrase. Either it will be there forever, and I won't be able to get rid of it, or give it a month and it'll be gone. Who knows? Who bloody knows? Now, let's get on to what we're actually here for, because I've read one of the books for this week. Not finished the other one yet. But to be fair, I'm filming this quite a few days earlier than I usually would. So, let's get on with it. The first book we have to review this week, I'm pretty sure I actually do have it here this time. I do. Twas the Nightshift Before Christmas by Adam Kay. I mean, it's bloody... Sorry, a bird just flew really close to my window. Great, love that for me. Anyway... Let's get back into what we're actually supposed to be talking about. This book was bloody brilliant. Of course it was. It is a phenomenal insight into what it's actually like working, I mean, generally working in the medical profession at a hospital, but then that added thing of Christmas, and you get all the sorts of, if you've read the first one, then you'll know that kind of, sometimes you're laughing, sometimes you're crying, but a lot of the time you're going, oh no, oh dear, why'd you do that? From the first one, the degloving incident will be the story that sticks with me forever. In this one, I think it might be the peanut butter. Read to find out what I'm talking about. Now, there is a more emotional story in this that absolutely will stick with me, but it's not something that I particularly... I think the light's changing, hopefully that'll be fine. But it's not something that I particularly want to talk... I keep it generally quite light on here. There are hard stories in here, but I appreciate that he sort of says, you know, when he talks about it, he says, this might be really hard for some readers. Feel free to just not read it. And I can understand why. It was very difficult to read, and yeah, but honestly, if I still absolutely think that this is the book that you should read if you're ever trying to... It's still really entertaining, which seems really difficult to say after you think about stories like that. You know, this is a genuinely entertaining book. The way that Adam Kay tells his stories, it makes it sound fictional, but it's not. Like, what I mean is the way he tells the tales of his life, kind of thing, his life as a medical professional. It's just so engaging in the lighter moments and the darker moments, whatever you're reading, you are engaged. You are with him 100%. And also, every comment about... I was about to say about the Tories, but not just the Tories, because, yeah, he's right. Fuck Tony Blair. Any government that he's, you know, had to deal with in terms of the way that the NHS is treated, the way he talks about them, it's eloquence in a way that I envy, because it's that very cutting kind of eloquence that he doesn't have to say much. Sometimes it is literally just saying fuck Tony Blair. I mean, if it works, it works. But yeah, this book, phenomenal. 10 out of 10. Absolutely recommend. If you haven't read the first one, I would maybe say read that first. Just because there are some things referenced. Not necessarily, it's like, you could absolutely read this without having read the first one. I just think you should read both, because they're both bloody brilliant. And also, I need other people to have read that degloving story. And then again, in this one, the peanut butter. I don't know why that's the one that stuck with me. I don't know why that's the particular one that just made me go... Because there are plenty of moments throughout the way that just made me go, oh no, I don't know what it was about that peanut butter. Just turned my stomach. That's absolutely what it did. But yeah, this, it genuinely, and it's also really short. I read it in just a couple of hours. A nice short book. I read this in one sitting as well because of it. Because of the diary format. It's a lot of short diary entries that just make it easy to like pace yourself with, rather than, you know, generally with long form prose, you're going to be reading huge passages in one go that don't break, if you will. Whereas it's like, here you have maybe you maybe have a few pages for one day kind of thing. If you've read it, you'll know. This was, in terms of actually reading, not necessarily in terms of content, pretty easy to read, which I always appreciate, because I have poo brain. In a couple of days I'll film the next part of this, and I'll do my wrap up and all of that, because quite frankly, this is... my brain is falling out, and if I keep filming and I keep talking, I won't be this wonderful, entertaining being anymore. I will just... it'll just be... So, as you can see, the lighting is all very different, very dramatic. I did a little test shot to see if it looked better with my light on or light off, and I'm a dramatic bitch, so I went with lights off with this huge shadow behind me. I'm kind of into it. So, Love and Saffron by Kim Fay. Oh my god, that light is so bright in my eyes. This is why I prefer filming in the daytime, but that's not always an option. Yay. So, Love and Saffron by Kim Fay. It is the story of two women in the 60s who basically, they're both... you know what, I'll just read the blurb. It's easier, because I'm not very good at explaining things. So... when Joan Bergstrom sends a fan letter with some saffron to Imogen Fortier, a life-changing friendship by correspondence begins. Joan lives in LA and is just starting out as a writer for the newspaper and food pages. Imogen lives on Kamano Island, writing a monthly column for a Pacific Northwest magazine. And while she can dig for clams, she's never tasted fresh garlic, exotic fare in the Northwest of 1960s America. She's never tasted fresh garlic, exotic fare in the Northwest of 1960s America. Joan and Imi's letters bridge the generation gap as well as the miles that separate them, as their shared experiences blossom into the deepest of friendships. Set in a gentler and kinder time, Love and Saffron is a tender gem of a novel that reminds us that food and friendship sustain us all. I mean, I'm not sure about that phrase, gentler and kinder time. This is 60s in America. Pretty sure segregation was still happening. Also, the president got shot in public. So gentle, so kind. Anyway, you've got to rope people in somehow, and nostalgia and rose-tinted spectacles about the past works. The book is not that. It is definitely nostalgic, but it's not that, like, wasn't the past perfect and wonderful and lovely? 100% not that. Absolutely beautiful book, though. I started reading this maybe about a month ago. I've been reading it steadily for a little while, something in the background kind of thing, just picking it up here and there. I finished it just before filming, which you'll be watching this on Thursday. I'm filming this part on Monday. And I would not say I am in love with this book, but it is bloody brilliant. This is perhaps not the sort of thing that would make it into my top 10, admittedly. But I think that's just because anything written in terms of letters and diaries, I personally either really love them, or it's not like a love-hate kind of thing, but for me, I tend to... There's always something about it that I feel like it's missing, because I really like the ability to... the joys that a narrator, a more traditional, whether it be first or third person, a traditional narrator brings is the fact that you can explore the world around them a little bit more. Even though I am a very character-driven writer in terms of readership, obviously, I read a lot of, things like romance and chick lit and that kind of stuff. So, it's all the kind of stuff that is generally quite character-driven, but even then, just with traditional narrators, you can explore more of the world, and you even get to know the characters a bit better. I generally prefer third-person narrators, just because you can get to know the characters and the world as a whole a little bit better, just because you can go, this character is currently thinking this sort of thing, whereas you can't really get that with letters. But the thing I do enjoy with this style, and it works really well in this book, is that almost... I don't know how to explain it, but there's this kind of performative nature of writing a letter to somebody, where, if you're talking to somebody face to face and you're recounting a story, there are ways in which you take tangents and get lost in conversation and that kind of thing, which you don't get in letters, obviously. I mean, there can be tangents, but, there's the whole thing with a letter is... it is blocks of conversation rather than that back and forth as if you're in person or you're on the phone and that sort of thing. And I say this as if you've never read or written a letter before, It seems kind of patronising. I feel like I'm being patronising. I'm not. But as somebody who has often found writing letters to friends and loved ones to be something that I do generally when I want to be able to say something, but I'm not sure how, or it's like maybe I'm not able to make a phone call to somebody, but I don't want to say something, say I can't see somebody in person. There's that, like, I maybe can't make a phone call right now, but a text or a message feels cheap somehow. A letter sits in that perfect middle ground, and I mean, you sort of get that here, because there are points where they even mention that they don't want to make phone calls. It doesn't feel right. I think the way she phrases it is, when you write a letter, you have to focus on that. That is the one thing that you can be doing. Whereas if you're on a phone call and she says, I can be making food, I can be tidying, I can be playing solitaire. And I really appreciated that, because there is an intimacy to letter writing that you really feel with this book. And I do think it's absolutely wonderful. Not every book is going to be a favourite. it's still absolutely fantastic, and I can absolutely recommend that you read it. I fell in love with these characters, as I often do. I just have one of my favorite parts is towards the end. I won't do spoilers. So one of the characters' husbands has to transcribe what she's saying in a letter rather than her writing it. And there are these really nice little touches where he's not very good at using the typewriter, so there's a lot of crossings out. And I just thought that was a really lovely little touch. I like things like that. And also, there's one section, I think it's about halfway through, which is it's completely different format. It is a more traditional third person narrator style. It's for one short section. It works very well for getting you to where you need to be for that. But I like that they changed the format for that. I mean, like, visually it looks different, so it doesn't feel like it looks separate from the letters, and that looks really good. I think that works so well. And the book that this reminds me of, I'm almost certain it's called The Little French Recipe Book. I reviewed that last year, and these two not only sit in a similar sort of vibe for me, mostly because they're a love letter to food as much as they are like about relationships. And I don't actually particularly mean romantic relationships. I mean the relationships we have outside of that, friendships, family. And yeah, there is romantic relationships in this, but this is not a romance by any means. Basically, the two of them just hold that similar place in my head. It really is about the way they write about food. It is clear that there is just, because food is such a, I mean, food for yourself is self-care, but and then there's just the idea of making food or giving knowledge of food in terms of recipes to somebody else is such an act of care and love. And that's what this book is. It is an act of care and love, and it's so clear that that's the case. And I do adore things like that. So yeah, 100% recommend. So that is this week wrapped up. I'm not going to be delving into my little what are we reading next week box, because I have something fun planned, but that's going to be a little surprise. You can see that by tuning in next Thursday. I hope you'll have a wonderful day, a wonderful night, a wonderful whenever you're watching this. If you're feeling fun and fresh, you can always like, subscribe, leave a little comment or something, recommend me a book if you like. I will maybe check it out, or I will say, oh my god, I'll put it on the list, and then it never goes on the list because I know what I'm really like. So like I said, have a wonderful time of watching. I will see you all shortly. Doesn't really work if I'm stood up, does it? Can I still do the leg slap? Right.